Oh yeah, smooth.
Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is your boy Famous Kid Video Game Entertainment, and I'm here to show you guys how to create a gaming console out of any old PC or laptop using Batocera, installed only through a USB. The reason why I created this video because I was working on my background for upcoming videos, and I also mounted this TV from my garage that I wasn't using. While I was grabbing that, I ran across this old computer in there, so I brought it in. This PC board was an Lenovo with an Intel i3 6100. It had 8 gigs of RAM with a Radeon RX 580 8 gigs GDDR5. I'm not going to go and get too much in the specs of this PC because my point being is that you can do this on any old PC or laptop as long as it's working. Most PCs today use a 64-bit processors, but they even have this for 32-bit processors. And some emulators vary on the type of PC, meaning that not all PCs can play 64, GameCube, PS2, or even PSP in some cases. But old arcade games, NES, SNES, Sega, PS1, all the way to Dreamcast should do just fine. Sega Saturn can be a bit tricky, again, depending on what you have packed in. So I'm going to clean this up and do some rewiring, and that'll be off camera on my own. Also, old PCs like this, it's good to change out that thermal paste if it's been sitting around for a long time. Before we go any further, hit that like and subscribe button. Click a like and subscribing is always a big help. We try our best to bring you good content from fun stuff to small projects like this that we like to do. And I hope you guys like and be interested in stuff like this too. So let me point this out. This right here is the first time I'm doing an in-depth tutorial like this. So I'm really crossing my fingers and hoping I give you as much info as possible. I can't show you how to get the games of BIOS, but I will say some key names of the BIOS that is a must-have for certain emulators to work. There are BIOS packs out there. You just got to do some research. There are a lot of other videos that can show you extra fun stuff to optimize your experience doing this, and I'm going to run through some of the basics. Now, with all that out the way, let me get started. A few things you're going to need. Number one, you're going to need your PC, or at least a PC that's working, okay, that you use. I'm going to be using a Windows 10. Also, a USB flash drive, at least 8 gigs or higher. Yeah, it's best to use a good flash drive like Samsung or SanDisk. I'm not a big fan of PNY. It's just in my past I had issues of it crashing out and not loading, but it's up to you. Also, either a second form of storage for games, either an external hard drive or another USB flash drive with plenty of space. Me, I'm using a 230 gig old 2.5 hard drive with a hard drive enclosure. And also some big stuff to consider: time and patience. I love to have a cup of coffee and chat with wifey and the kids while I wait. And if it's late, I play some console games like Xbox or PS5. Okay, let's jump on the computer. We're gonna need to do some things. Now, first thing first, you want to get you some ROMs. Get you some ROMs together and have it in a folder. So as you see mine, I have a folder called ROMs. So I have different ROMs and different files, so that way I can go ahead and transfer them to the hard drive when I'm ready. Okay, number two, you're gonna need a program called Etcher, which I'm going to show you how to get, which I'm going to leave a link in the description. Okay, all right. Also, insert your USB flash drive and format it. Make sure that you format it in FAT32. Okay, remember, use 8 gigs or higher. Okay? So I'm just going to be using this one for right now. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and format it. You can name it how you want to, and it's done. Okay, all right, click OK. Close that out. And next, you're gonna need a unzip program, which is what I use. I use 7-zip. Okay, you can use other unzip programs, that's up to you, but I like using 7-zip. Okay, me, I'm gonna pick out the 64-bit, which that's what I'm running right now. So we're gonna use that. We're gonna download that, and you can install that. Run through the prompts and install it on your computer. I already got mine installed. It's very easy and it's very simple to have up on your computer. It doesn't show like an app, so it's just a selection that you use. Okay, next up, we're going to install Etcher. What this program does, this is going to flash your USB flash drive to Batocera. Great, so download this and install by following the necessary prompts. You should have a icon on the desktop, so which it should be able to make it more easier for you to access. Now here's the good stuff, Batocera. Okay, on this site, just you can click download, or you could just scroll down to download. Now on my end, you have different types of devices that Batocera can be installed on, so you can see the devices that that's used. I have them on my Raspberry Pi 4, Raspberry Pi 3. You can do it on all types of board, from to handhelds, everything. They have it all set up here, please, in our cases, browse the site and just see how, see how it is. And also they have tutorials on here on how to install this stuff. But in this case, I'm going to be using a 64-bit processor download because that's what I'm using right now. And if you do have a 32-bit processor, just scroll on the site and you should be able to find it. It shouldn't be a problem. So I'm going to download this, and it's going to come into like a image.gz file. You don't need to unzip it, but sometimes when you download certain things, it might come in a zip file, so you might have to unzip it. That way you can go ahead and install it. But in this case, this one came in its own. Pretty simple, straightforward. Time to open up Etcher. Okay, so now you're gonna flash from file. You're gonna locate your Batocera.image.gz file. Then you're going to select your target. In my case, I am using a 32GB flash scan disk USB. So we're going to do that, and then at that we're going to click flash. This is the part when I go ahead and tell you, yeah, you got to go ahead and chill for a bit. Maybe talk to the kids, or if you don't have kids, you know what I'm saying, just go ahead and have a cup of coffee or something to drink, or just play video games until it's done. Or you could just sit back and listen to me for a second, and you say, "Dear Famous, keep putting that sweet milk chocolate voice on the airwaves for us, please." Just messing with you guys. So now we're done. Now go ahead and say cancel, because that's when you know that you did everything right. And also what you're going to do, you're going to eject your USB flash drive. So we're going to do the next process on screen. So make sure you have your TV or monitor set up and your old computer ready that you're going to be using. All right, here's my PC. I did a little bit of rewiring to hide some stuff and everything else. Wasn't too much I can do, but I did get in that CPU and went ahead and did some cleaning, clean everything out, made sure I did some dusting really good. And I also added another RAM chip, which I had found it was about like 4 extra gigs in RAM. So, but enough about that. All right, got my USB here. Some time to pop it on into the back of the computer. Now, in some cases, you might run into this where you have a security boot to where that you won't be able to, it won't find the hard drive because you don't have one in there. So in this case, you're going to go ahead and turn the computer off, turn it back on. You're going to push F12 so that way you can get to the BIOS. So once you reach your BIOS, you need to go in and you need to go to security. So scroll all the way to security, and then you're going to go to secure boot. So go down there to secure boot, and then what you're going to do is you're going to disable the secure boot. So once you hit that, enter and disable. Also, while you're in the BIOS, make sure your boot sequence is using the USB first, because think about it, if you was installing Windows, you wanted to be installing from the USB, so you need that to go first. Just enter, and then go ahead and press F10 to save and exit. Try it again, and it should start installing. And I also found me like a pair of like speakers that I had just laying around in the garage. So I wanted to clean those up and just kind of plug those up too. So that way we can get some sound. You can also use it through your HDMI, but I wanted to kind of like have it like this little setup like this. So this is where some more patience gonna come in, to where that you're gonna have to wait, because the first initial setup, it's gonna have to like install and basically do a stain. So you just give it a few minutes and let it do a stain. The sun is up and it might be you. Another day to something new. No, I can't sing it all. My voice is terrible. I'm just doing that just to waste your time. All right, let me get my controller set up here, plug it up in, and right now I have a Nintendo Switch wired controller, so that's what I'm going to be using to map out. In my opinion, best controller to have by far is the Xbox controller. Either you can have it using wired or get you a Bluetooth dongle and go wireless. It's the best way to go. Following necessary prompts is basically set up just like a Super Nintendo controller, or you can say a Switch controller. So just map everything out, and as you get to your hotkey, I usually on this particular controller I'm using the home button as the hotkey. That's what we're gonna do. So just map it out just the way it is. Make sure your L3 and R3, you just push down on the left and right. Analog. Upon setting this up with everything else, and just to show you that they have a few systems installed and they already have a few games up in there, or some games just already installed. But what we're gonna do, we're going to get our own games. Some of these I'm just gonna leave these here, but I'm gonna install, a few library games. So I almost got ahead of myself. So what you see up there where it says download, don't worry about that. We'll get into that in a minute. Okay, you're gonna push start and you're gonna go to system settings, then storage device, then select your storage. In my case, it's gonna be my Batocera 250 or 230 gig. Then it's gonna ask you to reboot device. At that point, you back out, go to quit and if you just backed all the way out, just push start and then quit and shut down. Okay, then we're gonna hop back on the computer. Now, if you did everything right, you should have a Batocera file on your hard drive or whatever drive you're using, and it's gonna have a list of files up in here. Okay, so the important thing is to make sure all your BIOS files is up inside. Okay, mostly Batocera usually has all the BIOS files is inside, but in some cases there are a few BIOS that I think that's very important. Remember, I cannot tell you how to get the BIOS files. Okay, you got to do some research, but most of the time you should be okay. Now you remember when the visuals, so now I can show you and go inside Kodi, and I'm going to go ahead and put my logo and a few little videos up in there for my visuals. So, and we're going to do that. Okay, now to the good part. Okay, you're going to go to your ROMs and you look at all the systems that you can install games on. Okay, so this is where you're going to put your ROMs at. Now remember, I had made me like a few files, so just a few to put some ROMs up in here. So I'm going to go ahead and go in and I'm going to copy these and I'm going to drag them over to the storage device or in the corresponding spot to where it's supposed to be. Like 64 goes to 64 games, PSP go to PSP games, and you know saying, and all that good stuff. So we're gonna do that, and then after that we're gonna hop back to the screen. Now that you're back up, you should see all your systems and everything set up. Okay, so all right, now push start. So you can set your network settings up. You can push start and you go to your network settings, and then you're going to enable your Wi-Fi. Okay, at this point you're going to go ahead and put in whatever your SSID, and you're going to put it in your password, and that's what's going to enable your Wi-Fi. So don't forget that. This particular PC has a built-in Wi-Fi. If you don't have one, you can purchase a Wi-Fi dongle that you can put in the back of your USB, and it'll still catch the same Wi-Fi. I'll leave a link in the description for you to get a Wi-Fi dongle. If you did everything right, you should see a little icon of a Wi-Fi signal on the screen and the top corner where you can see right there. Okay, now let's work on getting you some things. You remember when you saw that little download thing that was just at the top of the screen earlier? Okay, I'm finna show you how to do that. Okay, press start, go down to updates and downloads, themes, and then they have different selections of what themes that you might want to get, and they also have bezels, so you can go to the bezel project and you can download different bezels. You could just tamper around that in your own time, so that's up to you. So I'm gonna download a couple, or I'm just gonna download one, and so that way I could show you mine. All right, here's my theme. I got a few games up in here, and this is that and that, but I need to show you one more thing. I need to show you how to scrape your games to get your videos and your box art and stuff like that. So here we go. I'm gonna press start again, screen scraper. You're gonna say use screen scraper. At this point, okay, the first time you're using Screen Scraper, if you have never used Screen Scraper, you're gonna have to go on the computer and create an account. It's free to do it, just create that and the password. So you're gonna have to put that up in there, that information up in there, and then you will be able to scrape your games and then set your box art, videos if you have time, it's everything else. It's gonna take a while if you have a big library, so just be patient and do what you gotta do, and you should be fine. Also on the menu, it's gonna ask you how many systems are you scraping. You can scrape one, or you can scrape one starting with one, or you can just do them all and just go back and just get started. Then reset your console for everything to take effect. Okay, go to quit, restart, and start it up, and everything should be in effect. One last final tip: if you have any problems with some of the emulations that you're running, maybe you might need to change the emulation. So press start, go to game settings, go to per game configuration, and just change out the emulator. Okay, if you're still having a few problems, just check, just check on other videos and stuff like that. There might be a couple of things that you might need to switch up or whatever. This is that and that. Remember, just like I said, from the beginning, I mean, like far as like the old school games like Nintendo Super all the way up, it should be just fine. So let's get the plan.
Bunga bunga.
burn. You have to get by me first.
Wow, what a start! This is just what I wanted to see! 2 laps to go!
So for GameCube, get your keyboard ready. You might run into a question like this. At that point, just go ahead and push down, or just push space and then space again, and then go down, and then just press OK by using space, and it should start.
Power up complete. Thank you for purchasing this item from Gas.
So there you have it. You know, just an old PC to be able to play some of these games and have it as an awesome console. Those kind of computers that you just got lying around, you just don't want. This can make a perfect game console, maybe for the kids or something like that, you know. And you don't need a hard drive in there. You don't even need RAM chips if you don't want to have RAM chips up in there. But it can, as long as it's working and you know your CPU is up in there, you can use it straight through from your USB. But with those old RAM chips and that GPU, hey, it can help it out to be able to play more powerful games and even bump up the resolution in some cases. But all you need is a USB flash drive and external hard drive, or an extra flash drive for to store your games. All right, I'm gonna call it quits from there, and I hope I gave you guys enough information. And thank you guys for watching. If you got this far, I do appreciate it. And this is my first time doing something like this, so I hope I did good. And from gamer to gamer, thanks for watching.